Okay, so I stumbled into this whole story kind of by accident. I kept seeing these incredible quilts online. Wild patterns, deep colors, pieces of denim stitched into pure magic. And I thought, where did this come from? Turns out the answer is Gee's Bend, Alabama, one of the most isolated, historic, and unexpectedly influential places in American art history. But once I dug deeper, I realized not everything about the rise of these quilts is as heartwarming as it first seems. So Gee's Bend is this tiny, almost cut-off community tucked into a bend of the Alabama River. It's mostly descendants of people who were enslaved on the Petway plantation. For generations, the women here made quilts. Not because they wanted to be artists, but because they needed warmth. And the thing is, these quilts are not just beautiful, they're powerful. They tell stories of survival, community, and creativity with whatever scraps they could find. Old blue jeans, feed sacks, dresses that had been worn thin. All of it stitched together into something fierce and alive. Now, a few names come up over and over when you start learning about Gee's Bend. Mary Lee Bendolph, the heart and soul of the collective. Loretta Petway, her work so bold it'll almost knock you over. Lucy Mingo, who was part of the Freedom Quilting Bee, sewing art and activism together during the Civil Rights Movement. And Annie Mae Young, whose strip medallion quilt helped launch Gee's Bend into the art world's spotlight. These women didn't just make blankets, they made history. And today, their quilts hang in places like the Whitney Museum and the Met. Imagine that, quilts born from survival now sitting right next to Picasso and Pollock. But here's where things start to get uncomfortable. In the early 2000s, a man named William Arnett, an art collector, helped bring Gee's Bend quilts to national fame. At first, it seemed great. Recognition, museum shows, even books and postage stamps. But then, two quilters, Annie Mae Young and Loretta Petway, sued Arnett's company. They said they weren't properly paid, that their work was being sold for thousands, and they barely saw any of it. The lawsuits got dismissed, but the questions stuck. Were these women celebrated or exploited? And honestly, it's a question that still haunts this story. Fast forward to today, and yeah, the Gee's Bend quilters are getting some corporate love. Target did a line inspired by their quilts for Black History Month. The women are selling on Etsy, working with nonprofits like Souls Grown Deep and Nest, which is awesome, but some partnerships are still criticized for offering artists just a flat fee while companies rake in big profits. I don't know. Part of me is thrilled they're getting a bigger audience. Part of me feels like we've seen this story too many times, where the artists at the center don't get their fair share. In the end, the quilts of Gee's Bend are more than just art. They're proof of what happens when you mix survival with imagination, when you make beauty even when the world gives you scraps. And I think that's what makes the controversy hurt even more. These women created something extraordinary. They deserve not just praise, but power, ownership of their legacy, and a real piece of everything their quilts have built. If you want to support the Gee's Bend quilters directly, check out their Etsy shops and Souls Grown Deep Foundation. They're still creating, still stitching new stories. And honestly, they're living proof that real art isn't born in studios. It's born in the places nobody thinks to look. Thanks for watching. And if you liked this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.